The crisp morning air at Thornbridge Country Club carried the scent of freshly cut grass and privilege as Elise Novak pushed a weathered maintenance cart across the immaculate grounds. At 42, her hands bore the calluses of someone who worked for a living, but her posture, straight-backed and dignified, hinted at something more. Maintenance should use the service entrance, barked Victor Harrington, the club's director, his tailor navy blazer emblazoned with Thornbridge's gold crest. I'm not maintenance, Elise replied, her Austrian accent adding warmth to her precise English. I'm here to meet Mr. Peterson. She handed over an envelope. He invited me. Victor examined the invitation with obvious skepticism. You're Elise Novak? The consultant Peterson mentioned. His gaze traveled from her practical shoes to her simple blouse and khaki pants. Before Victor could respond further, a commotion erupted near the clubhouse. William Blackstone, tech billionaire and host of today's charity tournament, was holding court. Who let the help onto the main green? Blackstone's laughter was sharp as broken glass when he spotted Elise. Victor cleared his throat. She claims to be Mr. Peterson's guest, sir. A consultant. Peterson's mysterious golf consultant is the woman who delivers my dry cleaning. A ripple of laughter spread through the gathering crowd. Smartphones appeared, discreetly capturing the confrontation. Actually, Elise said quietly, I own the dry cleaning service. Among other things. Blackstone's smile turned predatory. Ms. Novak, this tournament has a €10,000 entry fee. Surely Mr. Peterson explained that. Elise reached into her worn leather bag and withdrew a check. He did. I'm quite looking forward to playing. Sophia Reynolds, Blackstone's girlfriend, stepped forward in designer golf wear. Darling, perhaps she misunderstood. This isn't the staff tournament. Then a new voice entered the fray. I invited her. Robert Peterson, 70 years old and walking with a slight limp, approached from the clubhouse. And she's not just playing. She's my partner for the tournament. Blackstone's expression darkened. Bob, this isn't one of your charity cases. This tournament determines who sits on the club's executive committee. I'm aware, Peterson said mildly. That's precisely why I asked Ms. Novak to join me. Well then, Blackstone said, his voice silky with menace. Let's see what the cleaning lady can do with a 9-iron, shall we? The practice range at Thornbridge resembled a luxury car showroom. Titanium drivers worth thousands glinted in the morning light, wielded by men discussing market shares between swings. Elise stood at the far end, methodically unpacking a set of clubs that had clearly seen better days. You didn't tell them, Elise said quietly to Peterson. Peterson's weathered face crinkled with amusement. Would they have believed me if I had? 20 yards away, Blackstone held court with the tournament's elite participants. I've checked the membership records, he said loudly. No Elise Novak has ever set foot on this course before today. Perhaps she learned golf folding shirts, suggested Sophia, triggering another round of laughter. Elise positioned her ball, her focus absolute. Her swing was compact, efficient, and shockingly powerful. The ball soared in a perfect arc, landing precisely 150 yards out on the practice green. A moment of silence fell over the nearby group. Beginner's luck, Sophia muttered, but her confident smile had slipped. Victor approached with an apologetic expression. Mr. Blackstone, there seems to be an issue with Ms. Novak's registration. Our rules state that all participants must have a verified handicap from a recognized club. I have a handicap, Elise said, placing another ball on the tee. From where? Victor demanded. Royal Prague Golf Club, she replied, executing another perfect swing. That's impossible, Sophia declared. I tried to get membership there last year. My father sits on the board of 3 national banks, and they still waitlisted me. Elise shrugged. Perhaps they have different priorities. Victor hurried away to verify this claim, while Blackstone stepped closer to Peterson. Bob, what game are you playing? You know this tournament determines who controls the future of Thornbridge. Precisely why I brought the best partner I could find. She's not one of us, Blackstone hissed. That, Peterson replied with a smile, is rather the point. From a nearby table, Amara Okafor, financial journalist for the European Business Review, observed with increasing interest. She discreetly activated her phone's recording function. Victor returned, his face pale. Ms. Novak's membership at Royal Prague is confirmed. Her handicap is +1. Blackstone's expression froze. A plus handicap meant Elise played better than scratch, professional level. Well then, he said, extending his hand with transparent insincerity. Welcome to Thornbridge. I look forward to seeing your technique. The first tee at Thornbridge commanded a view that justified the club's exorbitant membership fees. A sizable crowd had gathered as Blackstone stepped up to the tee box. His swing was textbook perfect, sending the ball sailing 280 yards down the center of the fairway. His partner, hedge fund mogul Marcus Davidson, followed with a similarly impressive drive. When Elise took her position, the crowd fell silent. Smartphones appeared again, several members clearly anticipating a moment of embarrassment worth sharing. Her drive sailed past Blackstone's position, finally coming to rest a full 15 yards beyond. The silence deepened, then erupted into astonished murmurs. Must be using illegal equipment, Davidson muttered, loud enough to be heard. Care to examine her clubs, Marcus? Or would you prefer to make unfounded accusations from a safe distance? Peterson challenged. As they walked toward their balls, Blackstone fell in a step beside Elise. Impressive drive. I'm curious, though, what brings a player of your caliber here? Mr. Peterson asked for my help, she said. I owed him a favor. Must have been quite the favor, Blackstone mused. What exactly does a dry cleaner do for a man like Peterson to earn such loyalty? Before Elise could answer, they reached her ball. She selected an iron and with surgical precision landed her approach 2 feet from the pin. Birdie for Elise. Par for Blackstone. The first hole went to Elise and Peterson, and the atmosphere around the foursome shifted subtly. By the 4th hole, Elise and Peterson were 3 under par, while Blackstone and Davidson were 1 under. A small crowd had begun following their group, word spreading about the mysterious woman outplaying Thornbridge's champion. At the 5th tee, Victor approached, his expression troubled. Ms. Novak, there's a question about your eligibility. Peterson stepped forward. What question? Her handicap was verified. Yes, but there's a personal eligibility issue. Club policy. Victor cleared his throat uncomfortably. When Elise returned from a private conversation with Victor, Peterson could see a new tightness around her eyes. What was that about? He asked quietly. Apparently, Elise replied, there's a club bylaw requiring all tournament participants to have a certain financial standing. Victor has received an anonymous tip suggesting I don't qualify. Peterson's face darkened with anger. That's absurd. There's no such bylaw. Her tee shot arced gracefully over the water hazard, landing softly on the green and rolling to within 3 feet of the pin. The small crowd applauded spontaneously. As they walked toward the green, Amara managed to position herself near Elise. Impressive shot. You played this course before? Never, Elise replied. Then how? I studied, Elise said simply. Satellite images, topographic maps, weather patterns, grass types. Golf is mathematics and physics applied to landscape. The human element is just psychology. Victor returned, his expression grave. Ms. Novak, Mr. Peterson, I need to speak with you. Now. Meanwhile, Blackstone's smile was cold. Sophia found something interesting. Our mysterious golf prodigy isn't just a dry cleaner, and her connection to Peterson goes back much further than she's admitted. This is outrageous, Victor, Peterson said, his voice carrying despite his attempt to keep it down. There is no financial requirement for tournament participants. The club has standards, Robert, Victor replied stiffly. And there are questions about Ms. Novak's background. Questions raised by whom? Peterson demanded. Victor's eyes flickered briefly toward Blackstone. This is Blackstone's doing. He's afraid of losing, Peterson declared. The crowd had grown, tournament participants and spectators drawn by the unfolding drama. Sophia Reynolds stood at the edge, scrolling through her phone with a satisfied smile. Ms. Novak claimed to be a business owner, Victor continued, but our verification shows her primary residence is in a modest neighborhood in Edinburgh, not Prague. And her connection to Mr. Peterson appears to be personal in nature. Sophia stepped forward, holding up her phone displaying a 20-year-old newspaper article. Robert Peterson, then CEO of Peterson Global Investments, presenting a scholarship to young Austrian golf prodigy Elise Novak, age 22. Her smile turned vicious. Before her career-ending injury, of course. That's ancient history, Peterson said dismissively. Is it? Sophia challenged. Because after her injury, you employed her at your company. Then when you retired, you helped her establish businesses across Europe. That's called mentorship, Peterson responded. That's called a conflict of interest, Blackstone countered. Especially in a tournament that determines control of Thornbridge's executive committee. This is ridiculous, Peterson exclaimed. Elise was one of the most talented golfers Europe has ever produced. Before her injury, she was ranked third in the world. Was being the operative word, Blackstone said, his voice laden with false sympathy. Now she's just a failed athlete trading on old connections. Unexpectedly, Amara stepped forward. Mr. Blackstone, I've been researching Ms. Novak since this morning. According to the European Business Register, Elise Novak owns 17 businesses across 4 countries, including SportsMed rehabilitation centers and Novatech golf equipment. Her net worth is estimated at approximately 140 million euros. The crowd's murmuring intensified. Novatech was one of Europe's premier golf equipment manufacturers. That doesn't change the conflict of interest, Blackstone insisted. If financial ties between golf partners constituted a conflict of interest, Peterson interrupted, then your partnership with Marcus Davidson would be equally problematic, given that his hedge fund manages your personal investments. This isn't about standards, Elise said, speaking at last. This is about fear. Mr. Blackstone isn't concerned about who I am. He's concerned about what I represent. You believe that certain spaces, like this club, should remain exclusive. The tournament continues, Victor announced abruptly. Ms. Novak's eligibility is confirmed. As the crowd dispersed, Blackstone stepped closer to Elise. You've made an enemy today. I don't lose gracefully. I've noticed, Elise replied. Fortunately, I'm not here to make friends. Thunder rumbled across Thornbridge as rain fell in sheets. Most spectators retreated to the clubhouse, but the most anticipated foursome in tournament history continued their round. The score stood at 7 under for Elise and Peterson, 4 under for Blackstone and Davidson. The gap had widened as Elise's play intensified following the confrontation. As they walked toward their balls, the rain eased slightly, allowing clearer visibility. You're good, Blackstone acknowledged. But you don't belong here. Because I'm not wealthy enough? Elise asked. Because you don't understand what's at stake. Thornbridge isn't just a golf course. It's a legacy, a tradition, a business opportunity, Elise added. Isn't that what this is really about? Your development plans. Blackstone's stride faltered. Peterson's been talking, I see. He mentioned your proposal to convert the east grounds into luxury condominiums. Tell me, Ms. Novak, Blackstone continued, what did Peterson offer you to help him block my plans? Elise's swing was perfect despite the distraction, her ball landing safely on the green. She turned to face Blackstone directly. He offered me nothing, she said simply. I'm here because 20 years ago, when everyone else abandoned me after my accident, Robert Peterson was the only person who still believed I had value beyond my ability to hit a golf ball. For once, Blackstone seemed genuinely taken aback. You expect me to believe this is about loyalty? Not everyone measures worth in monetary terms, Mr. Blackstone. As they approached the green, a commotion at the nearby clubhouse drew their attention. A sleek black car had arrived, and an elderly man was being helped from the back seat, leaning heavily on a cane. My God, that's Thomas Harrington, Peterson said. Victor's father? Davidson asked. And Thornbridge's owner, Peterson confirmed. They completed the hole, bringing the score to 8 under versus 4 under at the halfway point. As they headed toward the 10th tee, Victor intercepted them. My father requests your presence in the clubhouse. All of you. Thomas Harrington sat in a leather armchair near the fireplace, his thin frame radiating authority despite his obvious frailty. I founded Thornbridge 50 years ago, he said, as a place where the game of golf would be respected above all else. Not social status, not wealth, but skill and character. Imagine my surprise when I receive a call informing me that a former European champion was nearly barred from my tournament on spurious grounds. His gaze shifted to Blackstone. Did you think I wouldn't discover your development proposal, William? Did you think winning this tournament would give you the authority to fundamentally alter Thornbridge without my consent? Thomas, you've been ill. We've been handling matters in your absence, Blackstone argued smoothly. By converting half my course into luxury condominiums? Thomas asked icily. The profit would allow for significant upgrades to the remaining holes, while coincidentally making you and your investment group millions. Peterson interjected. This tournament will continue, Thomas declared, and its original purpose stands. The winners will join the executive committee. His gaze rested on Elise. Even if those winners weren't part of the original plan. Play resumed under clearing skies. Blackstone's swing was technically flawless, but carried new aggression, the ball rocketing down the fairway with brutal force. Impressive distance, Peterson murmured to Elise. Anger does that, she replied quietly, but it sacrifices control. By the 14th hole, Blackstone and Davidson had closed the gap to 3 strokes. Elise's play remained solid, but had lost some of its earlier brilliance. Observant spectators noticed her occasionally flexing her left leg, the old injury apparently making itself felt. She's fading, Davidson remarked to Blackstone. Just as you predicted. Of course she is, Blackstone replied quietly. 20 years away from competitive play, plus whatever damage that accident left behind. She can't maintain this level for a full 18 holes. For the first time that day, frustration flashed across Elise's features. The 15th was another par 5. Elise settled into her stance, took a breath, and swung. For the first time that day, her shot was truly poor, hooking left and disappearing into the thick rough. When they found her ball, it was nestled deep in the rough, a nearly impossible lie. Take the penalty and drop, Peterson suggested quietly. We have enough of a lead to play it safe. Elise shook her head, selecting a wedge from her bag. No. The gallery watched in tense silence as Elise addressed the ball, her concentration absolute. Her swing was controlled and deliberate, the club face carving through the thick grass. The ball popped up and forward, landing safely on the fairway. A remarkable recovery from punishing lie. The crowd's applause was spontaneous and genuine. You're playing through pain, Amara said quietly to Elise at the 16th tee. Elise glanced at her, but said nothing. What? Amara pressed. After 20 years away from competition, after building a successful business empire, why put yourself through this? Because some things were taken from me, she said simply. My career, my identity as an athlete, my place in this world. I don't like it when people take things that don't belong to them. The development plans Blackstone proposed, they would destroy more than just Thornbridge's East grounds. They would erase the club Thomas Harrington built, a place where golf matters more than pedigree. You care that much about a club you've never been a member of? Amara asked skeptically. I care about principle, Elise replied, and about debts that can never be fully repaid. The 16th hole proved pivotal. Elise executed 2 flawless shots, setting up a 6-foot birdie putt. When it dropped, extending their lead to 5 strokes with just 2 holes to play, a collective realization swept through the gallery. Barring disaster, Elise Novak and Robert Peterson would win. Blackstone's demeanor darkened further. If you win today, you make an enemy you can't afford. I have resources and connections you can't imagine. Your businesses, your reputation, everything will come under scrutiny. Elise met his gaze steadily. Are you threatening me, Mr. Blackstone? I'm telling you how the real world works, he replied. This isn't a fairy tale where the underdog triumphs, and everyone lives happily ever after. This is business. No, Elise said, turning away. This is golf. Thomas Harrington observed the final holes from a golf cart positioned on a rise, overlooking the 17th green. Amara sat beside him, notebook in hand. 20 years ago, Thomas explained, Elise Novak represented everything pure about golf. Talent honed through discipline, not privilege. When the accident ended her playing career, the golf world turned its back on her with shameful speed. Except for Robert Peterson, Amara observed. And me, Thomas added quietly, though less publicly. Robert gave her a position at his firm, helped her rebuild her life. I established a scholarship in her name for young golfers without financial means. William Blackstone represents everything Robert and I have fought against for decades. Golf is a commodity, a status symbol, rather than a pursuit of excellence. When I fell ill last year, William seized the opportunity, pushing his development agenda. And Peterson brought in Elise to stop him, Amara concluded. To remind us, Thomas corrected, of what Thornbridge was meant to be. A place where skill and character matter more than wealth or connections. Victory was now mathematically assured for Elise and Peterson. But Blackstone wasn't finished. As Elise addressed her ball at the 18th tee, he stepped forward. "Before you finish this charade, the members of Thornbridge deserve to know that this entire tournament was manipulated. Elise Novak didn't come here by chance. She came as part of a coordinated plan to block progress at Thornbridge. Furthermore," he continued, "her relationship with Robert Peterson goes far beyond professional mentorship. 20 years ago, Peterson's investment firm acquired a controlling interest in her first company. Every business success she's had since has been built on his financial backing." "That's a lie," Elise said quietly but firmly. "While you're revealing truths," came Thomas's voice, "perhaps you should share your own secrets, William. Ms. Okafor has been investigating your development proposal." Thomas continued. "Would you like to tell the members about your offshore company that purchased land adjacent to Thornbridge's east grounds 6 months ago? Land that would increase tenfold in value if your luxury condominiums were approved. Or perhaps you'd like to explain the shell companies that connect your personal holdings to the development firm you recommended to the committee. The same firm that would receive a €20 million contract if your proposal moved forward." Blackstone's face had drained of color. "These are complicated business matters," he managed. "The choice before you today is about Thornbridge's future," Thomas said, addressing the gathered members. "Will we remain true to our founding principles? Or will we become just another playground for the wealthy to become wealthier?" Elise's final drive was perfect, soaring into the blue sky, landing safely in the center of the fairway. Blackstone's sliced wildly to the right, disappearing into the trees. Elise's approach shot left her with a 20-foot putt for eagle. Before she could putt, Thomas rose slowly from his cart. "20 years ago," he called, "I watched a young woman play the most beautiful golf I'd ever seen. Her career was cut short by tragedy, but her spirit was never broken. Today, Thornbridge has been reminded of what matters in this game and in life. Not appearances, not wealth, but character, resilience, and excellence." The crowd's applause was immediate and genuine, a standing ovation that continued as Elise lined up her final putt. When it dropped for an eagle, the roar from the gallery was deafening. The final score, Elise and Peterson at 14 under par, Blackstone and Davidson at 7 under. "You did it," Amara said to Elise. "You beat them at their own game." Elise smiled, the expression transforming her face into something luminous. "No, I beat them at my game." The evening sun cast long shadows across Thornbridge's terrace as members gathered for the tournament's closing ceremony. Elise had changed into a simple black dress, elegant in its understatement. "Today wasn't about revenge," she confided to Thomas. "It was about reclaiming a part of myself." Inside the clubhouse's grand hall, Thomas addressed the gathered members. "Thornbridge was founded on a simple principle, that golf reveals character. Not creates it, but reveals it. Today, we've seen that principle demonstrated with startling clarity. Ms. Novak came to us a stranger, judged hastily by appearance rather than substance. She leaves us a champion, having demonstrated not just extraordinary skill, but extraordinary grace. As tradition dictates, Ms. Novak and Mr. Peterson will join our executive committee, with full voting rights on all matters concerning Thornbridge's future, including any proposed developments. But before we present the trophy, I have one more announcement. Effective immediately, I am creating a new membership category at Thornbridge. Merit memberships will be awarded annually to 5 golfers who demonstrate exceptional skill but lack the financial means for traditional membership. The selection committee will be chaired by our new champion, Elise Novak. The room erupted in applause. As Elise accepted the trophy, cameras flashed throughout the room. Later, at the after-party, Sophia Reynolds approached Elise. "I owe you an apology," she said, her usual confidence diminished. "I judge you unfairly. You were protecting your boyfriend's interests," Elise observed. "Gone," Sophia replied simply. "He left after the ceremony, and he's not my boyfriend anymore." "Your performance today was incredible," Sophia added. "I've never seen anyone play like that." "Thank you," Elise said. "I give lessons, at the Royal Proud Academy every summer." Surprise flickered across Sophia's face, followed by a genuine smile. "I might take you up on that." 3 months later, Elise stood on the first tee at Thornbridge again, but this time surrounded by 5 young golfers, the first recipients of the merit memberships. Remember, she told them, golf isn't about the clothes you wear or the car you drive. It's about the character you demonstrate with every shot. A young woman with worn clubs, similar to Elise's own, stepped forward nervously. Ms. Novak, do you really think any of us could become champions like you? Elise smiled, remembering her own journey. I think that anyone who approaches life with passion and integrity has already won the most important victory. From the clubhouse terrace, Robert Peterson and Thomas Harrington watched the scene unfold with satisfaction. She's found her calling, Thomas observed, teaching the next generation. Blackstone's development company filed for bankruptcy last week, Peterson reported. Too many investors pulled out after Amara's article exposes methods. In Thornbridge, applications for membership are up 40%. It seems a club built on merit rather than money has appeal after all. In the club archives, a new photograph had been added to the wall of champions. Elise Novak standing tall, her simple black dress a stark contrast to the opulence around her, the Thornbridge trophy gleaming in her hands. Beneath it, a new plaque read, "Character reveals itself through adversity." Excellence speaks for itself. As Elise watched her protégés take their first swings, she felt a completion that transcended trophies or revenge. The journey that had begun in mockery had transformed not just a golf club, but herself, reminding her that sometimes the most powerful response to those who judge by appearance is simply to excel beyond their imagination. If you enjoyed this story of unexpected talent and deserved redemption, please like and subscribe for more uplifting narratives that remind us all to look beyond appearances.